Haddon has been coming to Equestrian Bridges for 11 sessions. It has helped Haddon in so many different ways. We have noticed improvement in his eye contact. We've noticed improvement in his core strength as well as his overall coordination. He's more gentle with people and animals, less aggressive, less frustration in life. Even his speech goals are being met more quickly.
Do you want to add a green Lego or a blue Lego? Blue. Oh man, that's going to be a tall tower. Good job.
Animals have always been the springboard for Haddon to speak. It's amazing. Right when he started speech therapy, we were at the zoo weekly because that's where he would talk. So we've always wanted to do equine therapy, and it just hasn't been available to us until we discovered you guys. So it's given him a topic, something to talk about. We talk about BB all the time. We talk about Frosty all the time. But it's been very special for our family to have access to horses and access to something he loves so much. There are so many things that are special about Equestrian Bridges in comparison to other opportunities that have come our way. Specifically, the amount of professional support that is here. He's working with people who are trained in this area. He's working with speech therapists and training. It's a really professional environment where I feel like he is getting the best.
So here at Equestrian Bridges, we partner with horses as therapy for individuals with all abilities. That could mean somebody working on social skills, somebody with autism, somebody with emotional behavioral problems. It's a really wide range, and it's a therapy that works for a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. The horse is not only this incredible animal, but it also encourages connection. It's huge, but it's also calming. And we partner with them through our therapies to encourage that between people, whether that be the child and the volunteer, the child and the horse, the child and their siblings even. And it's really incredible what a horse can do and what they can bring out in people. You can overcome fears, you can build confidence, build trust, and ultimately build connections and improve your quality of life.
I know that Lindsay came up to me after this last session and was talking about his bond with BB, this miniature pony that's precious, and he will go up to the herd of ponies and he will beeline for BB. And she talks about how BB is kind of a jumpy horse, hard to catch, but it stands there and waits for Haddon, and which is so funny because Haddon, when he first came here, was much more aggressive with animals and people, and not so much a mean aggressive, but a lack of control over his own body aggressive. And it's just exciting for me to see the generalization over his entire life of he is a more gentle little person now, and he's getting control over his own body.
Perfect. High five. Can you give Lindsay a high five? There you go.
When we first started, he had never ridden, he had been on a pony before without a helmet, and here, we wear helmets here, and I was so nervous because I was like, he can ride, but he can't get a helmet on. And we got a helmet on him, but it was such a process and a sensory battle. And now even today, he was with Lindsay, and they were grooming BB, and he looked her in the eye and said, "I want hat on, go ride." And I'm like, "I want hat on, go ride." 5-word phrase, I'm so excited. I'm just like, we're doing 3- and 4-word phrases in speech therapy. That's what we're working on. And, a spontaneous, this is what I want,
I worked with several programs before coming to Equestrian Bridges, and what attracted me to this particular program was the uniqueness in working with children, particularly with autism, in our social skills program, where we reach out to hundreds of kids a year and help them not only emotionally but mentally and behaviorally through their connection with the animals, our mini horses as well as our large horses. Many of our children have a type of negative feedback loop with their environment, with families and people at home, and when they get in this arena, they get to have that positive feedback with the horse, who naturally reflects their emotions, their feelings, and is there to be understanding, caring, and unconditionally loving towards them.
The last thing a parent wants to hear is prepare for where your child will live when you die, because your child's not going to be able to function on her own. Like, that is the most sickening, horrible thing that you have to think about. I don't want her put in a home when I'm 80 and when I'm 85, I die. She's 45. You're going to put her in a home? Like, what are you going to do with her? She's got, if we have any hope of helping her find her own life and being able to function, like, that's what we're handing her. That's what we're giving her, a chance to have her own life.
And same thing over this one, we're gonna end up doing that 2-point again, okay?
Our daughter was diagnosed with autism when she was about a year and a half old, and we were not given a very good prognosis as to what she would ever be able to do in her life. And at 5 years old, we started working with Equestrian Bridges. She was emotionally unattached. She did not acknowledge people coming or going. She would go into the arena and she would just make piles of dirt. And then one day she noticed a therapy horse, Fibber, and she began to worry about him. She began to want to save apple slices for him. And it was the first time she ever acted like she even cared about anything living, that she had made an emotional attachment. And so that was a huge success for her, to be able to do that. And that in itself was, for us, a wonderful part of being in Equestrian Bridges, because we had never been able to get her to connect with human beings. Only when she started working with the horses did she start wanting to show that she cared or was attached to anything that was living.
Good, nice keeping your heels down and moving your elbows with her. Deep breath.
Let's fast forward 7 years later. We are just so excited how Equestrian Bridges has empowered Natalie, how it has taught her how to function socially, how to have confidence. She has far surpassed anything that the therapists and doctors thought was possible for her. And so we're just so excited to think about what her future could be. And as a mother, knowing that we are giving her hope, a chance to have a life where she can be happy, she can function, she can find her way, she can be who she is, and still be able to have a wonderful life.
Both arms out. Good. Up. Down. Very good. Up. Down. Good. Up. Down. Beautiful.
I have been volunteering with Equestrian Bridges for 8 years. I mainly was used to just come help with horse problems, things that they needed help on. As I was there working with the horses, I actually got to watch the kids work with the horses and watch the kids get better and better with their behavior, and it just amazed me at how much the horses help. Last year I decided to retire and come work for Equestrian Bridges full-time, and I'm totally blessed, best move I've ever made.
I've been training the horses here on a part-time basis for about 8 months. Before that, I was volunteering with our Dreamcatchers program for about 18 months. What I do here mostly is I work with the horses, I train them and get them ready for the kids to use. The horses are not tools, they are actually our co-workers. We work with them, and in return they help us to reach these children in ways that people can't.
Good. There, much better. All right, Garrison, look towards me. Use your leg, don't want to stop. Much better. There, she kept going. Backward, Miss Molly. Very nice job. Doing well.
When you see this, you're seeing just a guy on a horse. But for my family, it's a life-changing miracle.
Point her towards that wall, towards that horse. And whoa, pull back those reins to your belly button. Good reach, Garrison. All right.
A lot of kids that have autism have irrational fears of animals, and Garrison was one of those, and it really interfered with your daily life. But the mini horses are perfect because they don't jump on you, they don't bite you, they don't scratch you, they don't bark. They're very handled and they're very comfortable. So he became really comfortable with these animals, and we never thought that he'd enjoy it. But he's riding horses. I mean, like, does that look like a miracle to you?
Molly, there we go. Rein towards Miss Jamie. Oh, don't run over. Just back towards Miss Molly.
There were a few things that I noticed that Equestrian Bridges did differently than any other group I'd been around at the time. This was, of course, years ago, and at the time, a lot of people didn't know a lot about autism or how to handle autistic kids. And one of the first things I noticed is nothing's forced, not with the animals and not with the kids. And it's really rare that you find a place that kind of understands that it has to be on the kid's term. It can't be on your terms. So on the last day of the third session, lady was working with the horses, and he went out there, and they just let him stay because he was interested. And that's when he made the connection, and it didn't take long before all of a sudden it's okay to be around a dog because he's on a leash like a horse, and it's okay to be around your neighbor's cat because it's not going to hurt you, and you have control over that. That's a huge thing for kids with autism, is that they don't feel like they have control over their environment. And now suddenly he's seeing that, hey, I can control this thing. I can change it. I can make it work for me. And that's just a huge thing. He now feels empowered. He's on a horse. He's riding on this big animal, and he feels, you can tell, he just feels empowered. He feels like, I can make a change and I can make a difference in my what's happening to me. So that's a huge step that's not included in the pamphlet. that's not something you expected, or not something that that we were actually even thinking could ever happen.
When I first started volunteering at Equestrian Bridges, I couldn't wait to see the way that the horses impacted the kids and being able to work one-on-one with the families. But it ended up that this program impacted me more than I anticipated. It was such a wonderful experience being able to volunteer here, and I would definitely recommend that if you have free time, you can volunteer here or become a sponsor so that this organization can reach out and help more people in our community.
Awesome. Okay, let's go inside. Bye.
Bye.
Next week. Bye. See you next week.